So again, as we're varying that protein, it is good. Meatless Mondays became a really big, you see that, you hear that trend for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that, again, are vegetarian or vegan, but there's a lot of different great recipes where you actually can get the protein without having to necessarily add protein if you want to use the quinoas, or if you know how to put all of the grains together with all of your rices, with eggs and egg substitutes and other things like that. Making sure that when you're using and eating seafood, that again, we do it the right way. Grilling, baking, broiling. If we fry, deep fry, I think we all know that that's not going to be good for us. Even if we put a good oil in there, we're going to absorb a lot of calories. But again, same when we pan fry. Yes, it's going to be better than deep frying. I always like to thank Rachel Ray for bringing olive oil, to a new level by making it so popular. But what I always told my clients was, Rachel tends to go around the pan with a lot of olive oil, and it's not left in the pan by the time it's all said and done. It all does absorb. So even though we all know there's good fats and bad fats, fat has the same amount of calories, 9 calories per gram of fat. Doesn't matter if it's good fat or bad fat. So if you don't need to add as much, then cut back on it. A lot of times, just like with the little protein peanut butter yogurt dip, I just adjusted it. I took out some of the sugar just to see if it was still going to taste good without quite as much of the honey. And the honey is still better than regular sugar, but again, if you can still cut back on it, why not give it a try? I can always adjust it the next time. So. And then moving to that low-fat dairy, as we were saying, doing your best to try and make that transition to start. The other thing I'd like to point out about dairy is that it doesn't all have to come from milk. There are some people that are lactose intolerant. If you look, it's amazing how the aisles at the grocery store have changed in the last few years. When it started out with soy milk, and now we have almond milk, and now we have coconut milk, and we have cashew milk, and we have rice milk. So we have all of these different alternatives. The one thing I do want people to know with that is they, again, are not all equal to milk. So depending on if your need is that you can't tolerate the lactose, that's fine. It's wonderful that there's so many alternatives out there. But one of the things that we like so much about milk and dairy is it does give you 8 grams of protein for a cup of low fat, or a cup of milk in general, as where almond milk is going to give you about 1 gram of protein. Soy milk is going to be the only one that is going to match up from a protein alternative if it is you're trying to get some protein through the dairy. So again, adding some of the fruit or the grains to the yogurt is a great option. Other ways, it's okay to add a little bit of cheese, but look for those, part skim mozzarella cheese, the lower fat cheeses that are out there, or just maybe cutting back on what it is that you would eat. I think everybody loves pizza, let's face it, or I shouldn't say everybody, but many people love pizza, but especially when you buy it out. It's wall to wall loaded with lots of cheese, okay? If we were making it at home, we would probably use a little bit less. You can actually ask the pizza place to not put as much cheese on. There are ways that if you want to eat out, that you can modify it by asking and making those changes on our own. And again, learning to make dips from some of the different healthier ingredients, the lower fat sour creams or cream cheeses, or trying Greek yogurt, that's a vanilla Greek yogurt. It just saved me from adding vanilla to plain yogurt. But, plain yogurt can be used, so many different items and dips and things along those lines. So we've talked a lot about this, but, trying fruit instead of dessert for something sweet, drinking milk or water instead of a sweetened sugar beverage. I think we had some different flavor packets that you could add to water today. I hear a lot of people say, I don't like water, it doesn't have taste. And I get it, but water is going to be so much more healthy for you than most of the sugary sweet drinks that are out there, or sweet tea, or whatever that may be. And again, even a lot of the Powerades, if you're not doing the sugar-free Powerades, vitamin water, they bring a lot of calories to it. So that's something to be aware of. For those that need to watch their sodium, and I think at future talks we're going to kind of hone in on a couple of different areas, so we may be focusing on sodium, sugars, for diabetes and people that are just watching sugar in general. It's some other sessions, but it's always best to try and, cut back on your sodium. Pre-packaged items that are shelf stable are going to be high in sodium. Sodium's a very inexpensive preservative, and that's why it can sit on your shelf for months up to a year or beyond for some items. And then flavor foods with less salt when cooking. Try and, look up all of those different ways of adding more fresh spices and herbs, and even just the herbs that are in your cabinet at home to add flavor to foods without having to use the salt shaker. So again, also wrapping up as we try and decrease our saturated fat and our trans fatty acids. So when saturated fat, think bad fat. I was talking with somebody actually at work yesterday that wanted information on cholesterol, and I said, saturated fat, bad fat. Solid at room temperature, it's what clogs your arteries, okay? The monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats are the good ones. Think olive oil, think canola oil, safflower oil, corn oil. There's others that are there. Eating the lean sources of proteins, including more plant-based oils in place of solid fats, and limiting your sweets and desserts and snacks. So we've kind of been putting it all together here, but the big point is trying to get that variety of your foods. Try and make sure as much as you can, and it's hard for all of us, try and get something from every food group on your plate at all of your meals, okay? And if you don't do it ever, then start with one. And maybe start with baby steps, like 3 days a week. Because we understand and we try and be realistic too. It's not easy for us as well. I mean, everybody's in that same boat at times. But baby steps, small changes can make a big difference in your health. And so it's important. Read those labels and learn. The more you can plan ahead when you make that list of what you're going to go to the grocery store with and plan out your meals, the more successful that you're going to be. We all know that things are going to happen in our schedules that are going to change things up every now and then, but that gives us the best chance for success when we're willing to do those things and cutting back on our sugars, sodium. So boys, remember what your food group looks like here, or your Choose My Plate. You can print this off from Choose My Plate. We have a couple of handouts over there, one of which has a small plate up in the corner. So if we were to take a look at this, what is the food group that is missing from the plate?
Dairy.
Very good. It is dairy. Okay, there was. I brought it up when you said it. So anyway, okay, so again, focus on small changes at a time. If you know you need to make changes, I encourage you, nobody needs to see this. If you want to talk to somebody about it, I'm always there. Pick up the phone and give me a call. I'm happy to give information to anybody. I have everything that I can get through that phone or through the computer. There are all kinds in the diet manuals that I have in my office. But set goals for yourself and make them achievable goals. Again, if you need to start small, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, a couple of meals a week. And then once you meet those, then you can add to it. Because again, let's not set ourselves up for failure. We want everybody to succeed here to make them healthier. Questions?
I have a question of you.
Yes.
On the, especially like protein bars and stuff like that, you always see net carbs because they incorporate your fiber. But is that, you're still getting, like if it's 20 grams carbs, 5 grams fiber, and 15 net carbs, you're still getting 20 grams carbs.
You are still getting carbs. The net carbs really confuses a lot of people. Net carbs became very popular a number of years ago, and actually we take a look at net carbs. I don't even usually talk it that much when I'm meeting with somebody that's trying to learn how to eat properly, that's working with their diabetes, living with diabetes. But with net carbs, especially if you're receiving insulin, that's when you can actually count net carbs.
Okay.
Fiber is not 100% digested, so it's not going to affect your blood sugars. So basically the net carbs is what's going to affect your blood sugars and what has to be accounted for with the insulin.
Okay.
So if it's over, I think it's 6 or 7 grams of carbohydrate, or 6 or 7 grams of fiber, then you can calculate in the net carbs.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, all of the carbs are still there. It's just telling you how much fiber. And again, knowing that fiber is very important for us for many reasons, from heart health to just keeping everybody regular, good digestive health. So, very good question. Protein bars have become, very, very popular. And it just kind of cracks me up from the original protein bars that now there's double fudge brownie protein bar to you name it. There's lots of different things out there. But you know what? If it works for you, again, you just need to take a look at what those carbs, what the protein is. If I were to go get my bag upstairs, I have a protein bar in it. It's a Special K protein bar. But again, there are certain days where that ends up being lunch. It's 12 grams of protein, and it's, I think 250-ish, close to that calories. And sometimes that's what works with a piece of fruit or something to go along with it. So, any other questions? we appreciate you coming down today and showing an interest and just learning more about health, or maybe starting to make a few changes. So we want to thank Kelly. I want to thank Kelly and Scott and the whole HR team for inviting me here today, and we're excited about our new wellness initiatives that are going to be coming. So keep looking for more information, and if you have topics you would like to hear more about, please let everybody know. So thanks, and have a great day and weekend.